and welcome back to West Coast Weekend. I am your new West Coast. That is a lot of words. I'm Zoe Vermillion. Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great night. We are about to get started here with Super Meat Boy, run by Shredberg. How you doing, Shredberg?
I am doing well, thank you.
So, Super Meat Boy is a difficult platformer. What about this style of game really kind of holds you into it?
So, I mean, I've loved this game since it came out, and I had been wanting to speedrun something for forever. And then it came out on Switch early 2018, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'll just speedrun Super Meat Boy, and it was actually really easy to get into, which you might think difficult game that there's no way that's an easy speedrun, but because your first few runs are going to be not very good at all, it's actually really easy to learn the game. And another thing too is because the run basically doesn't have any strategies that you need to do. You just need to beat the game. Which, right, it's a hard game. There's going to be tough levels, but there's nothing that sort of there's no glitch that if you don't do it, your run's not going to really be fast at all kind of thing. It's just a really easy game to pick up, and the movement and all that stuff is great too. So, yeah, it's been too. I've tried other speed games, and although I love a lot of them, this one just can't put it down.
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying there. Games where it's just a lot of just pure execution and it's just pure intended gameplay and not a lot of different speedrun tricks or exploits. It can definitely be a very easy run to pick up, even if the game itself is hard, just because it's very straightforward.
Exactly, and it's not it's easy to pick up and then you just do it. There's so many. Once you get my first goal was sub 25, and I hit that, and I was like, oh, I mean, I can still do better. And then I get sub 22, I hit that, sub 20, I got that, and then there's just always it's a moving window of what you can get as long as you want to put the time into it. So very big payoff, I guess, if you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to get started on this at some point, just let us know so we can get that time.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I'll count down from 3. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. Yeah, so Meat Boy came out almost exactly 10 years ago. It was in October of 2010. So everyone say happy birthday to Meat Boy. As you can see, the game, very straightforward. We're just going to get to the end of the level, which is Bandage Girl, but there's a lot of tech in the run. So I'm going to be pausing the game sometimes, and then I'll be jumping very fast. It's a trick called auto jump. It allows you to jump every single frame, which is, as it sounds, much faster than normal jumping. We're not going to use it for all jumps because, you do have to pause the game and everything, and the jumps can sometimes act a little squirrely when you do that, but it's very important. And auto jump is also going to chain together another piece of tech. So on this level coming up 1-10, I'm going to make sure to touch Bandage Girl while I'm on the ground, and that position is going to be stored for the very first frame that Meat Boy can move. And with that, I basically jump off of the ground. Since I was on the ground, if I end a level on a wall, I'll store a wall. Kind of weird, but it can help us, since Meat Boy, again, starts off the ground, can help us either jump earlier or get full speed faster. And as you can see, I skipped a level there. We do the levels that give us the shortest amount of time. The level coming up here, 1-18, takes 2 seconds. So it helps to skip 1-15, which is a 6-second long level. And it takes about a second or so with menuing to do that. This is the first boss. This is Little Slugger. It's an auto-scroller, one of many auto-scrolling bosses in this game. We can get to the end of this as fast as we want, but it doesn't mean anything. We're going to be waiting for Little Slugger to reach this either way. This also is the best song in the game soundtrack, which is already very good. And it's very sad that we don't get to listen to everything. There's a super sick solo that comes on just 10 seconds later. But unfortunately, as speedrunners, we aren't going to die on it. So we go to the second chapter, Hospital. This game, like many platformers before it, will just ramp up in terms of difficulty as you get further and further through the game. So this one starts to add a lot more difficult platforming for us. This really just teaching you the mechanics of the game. And this one is where the game really starts to get its, reputation for being a difficult game. It's still not super hard, both casually and as a speed run, but it does introduce a lot of new mechanics. For first, there's these fans. So they're going to push you as fans and platformers do. They are a little bit finicky on some levels, so the levels with fans I find to be kind of difficult to master, but you get used to it after a while. Right here on 2-8, I'm going to go for a strat that is in no way worth it. It's very risky, and it saves 0.2, 0.3 seconds.
I'd say
but
that's
it's
worth
easy,
it.
so first try. Yeah, very worth it. It's one of those where, like, most of this game, it's good. Like, we're fighting for tenths of seconds, but that's just one where the payoff is almost not worth it. There's like, you can't see it when you do that strat, but there's like a little needle that's sort of sticking out, and it shouldn't hurt you, but it does. So it's a lot more difficult than it should be. But yeah, these purple things are called beatuses. Yeah, and this chapter is pretty quick and, like a lot of the game, pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of major skips in it. There's one on the last level of it, but just like the run itself, no major skips. There's a faster version of Any% called Any% Major Glitches, but that run is ridiculous in a lot of ways. Right here, I'm using storage jump to skip a cycle here. Normally, you would only be able to get to that first one, but we got to that second little opening. Saves quite a bit of time. And we're going to the second boss, Chad, who's kind of an auto-scroller. It wants to auto-scroll, but we're gonna go and get this key on the second level super quick. Normally what would happen is the screen would stop scrolling, Chad would go back and forth, but we're just gonna grab it and then make our way over here really quickly and save like a bunch of time doing that.
Oh,
and so
that's sick.
Yeah. It's one of those things where at first it's kind of difficult because it's a really ambiguous timing window, because if you jump too early, you'll actually hit an off screen. If you're too far away from the camera, you die. So not only do you have to move quickly to get there, but you also can't be too quick, which when speedrunning can be frustrating because you always want to go fast. Now we're at Salt Factory. This is where I would say the speedrun really starts to get the challenge the game is known for. A lot of piles of salt everywhere, a lot of difficult skips and tricks all over the place that we're going to be trying to get. Introduces these conveyors. There's these horizontal ones, and right here it's going to show vertical ones where we sort of can hold into those conveyors, get more height. Allows us to skip a little bit of platforming right there. Although it's so fast, it's difficult to see. Right now I'm going to go for a frame perfect trick that saves about 2 seconds. Let's see. Okay, didn't get it. That's fine. Normally what would happen there if I did get the frame perfect input is I would slide up that wall really quickly and it would just launch me all the way to Bandage Girl essentially. I just got a backup for it. One of the nice things about that strat is if you don't get that frame perfect input, it doesn't ruin the level, you don't get the time save. You just have to do it normal, I guess.
So how overdone is the idea of speedrunners getting salty at World 3?
That, to be honest, I think that whenever I'm frustrated with getting runs, it's normally trying to get runs past Salt Factory, so I think that it is quite aptly named, to be honest. But salty with speedrunners is possibly overdone, but I think that there's some truth to it.
I just couldn't pass up the fun.
You can't, no. The Salt Factory, it writes itself, basically. All right, so here's going to be a pretty big skip. Saves about 3 seconds. Normally we have to wait for this platform, but we're going to, with the help of auto jump, just go all the way across. It's pretty tight, but with the correct timing, you can just barely not hit those salt piles. Right here, normally you want to go to the other side, but we're going to use auto jump and jump off of those key blocks and go into a little hole. And we're almost at the end of Salt Factory. The only thing left is the boss Brownie. Normally this is like a 30-second race against them, a lot of fun platforming, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and go over here and skip it. You can't just do a normal jump there. You have to do what's called a sprint jump, which, despite its name, you're not holding sprint while you're doing that jump. Right when you hit the wall, you let go of sprint, you jump, and then you press sprint again. Basically, it takes advantage of when you're not sprinting, you have lower speed, so it keeps you closer to a wall. And for that trick, it makes sure you don't go into the death plane. And now we're going into hell. This is, I think, almost unanimously agreed upon as the hardest chapter in this game. It has a lot of difficult tricks, like the one that's going to come up here, which is called Hex Skip. Going to concentrate really quick. Oh, almost. It's a really tight jump. You have to do like a really tight tap jump. You have to be low enough on this platform. All right, one more try. It is definitely where, like, even if you have a great pace, it doesn't really feel like you have a run until, oh, okay, no hex skip today. Unfortunate. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like you have a run until you get past this level. It saves about 3 seconds though, so it's a pretty important skip. But looks like it's just not my day for hex. This level right here, Ricketts, has like a absolutely ridiculous strat where you jump in between these saw blades and then have to like move really quickly through that middle section. But I'm not going to do that because it is absolutely ridiculous. The top 2 times on any percent both have it, and it does save like 2 seconds. So in some ways it's worth it, but it is ridiculous. Yeah, hell is sort of right now living up to its reputation. It's just really easy to pile on deaths on this chapter because of a lot of chapters probably have like 5 or 6 difficult levels and then, you know, 10 relatively straightforward levels. This one has like 5 or 6 straightforward levels and then 10 or 12 really difficult ones. So there's really nowhere to hide in this chapter. So it's really, you don't have a run until you get here. I tried to hide way too close to that eyeball. All right, right here I'm gonna do another strat. These eyeballs sort of lag behind you a little bit, so you can, if you're precise enough, jump right over it. And that saves a good second or so. And just jump under these. This strat looks a lot harder than it actually is. Well, unless you do that. But jumping under the actual lasers, I guess, is easier than it looks, because all you have to do is just hold the direction and just do a little tap jump. And it's pretty forgiving, so if you like want to do a really cool looking speedrun trick, but you're not super good at the game, like that's one that with just a little bit of practice you could probably pick up pretty quickly and feel really cool. So only 2 levels to go in hell, including this one. This chapter we actually skip 2 separate levels along our way. 4-2 is like a 20-second auto scroller of a level, and same thing with 418. So we skip both of those and go to Little Horn. This boss is great because I just stand here and I jump 3 times, and legitimately that's it. Just if you stand right here, nothing can happen to you. There's like little zombie boys that will fall down, but like legitimately you can't get hurt or anything. So we just kind of chill here.
Magic spot.
Exactly, the magic spot. All right, really nothing. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Normally during a speedrun I wouldn't do this, especially on GDQ. This is embarrassing, but I'll just go ahead and take it. Hello, this is Shredbird. What's that? My car's warranty's expired. Oh, I'm sorry. Not the time or place. It's important though. I'll give him a call back later. Normally people at GDQs take selfies here, but I wouldn't do that. I think that you need to pay attention during your speedruns, but all right. You see that white flash there? Remember that for a minute, because when we enter Rapture, we're going to see that white flash again. We actually cleared it a little bit earlier, and the game still wants to give us a white flash. So right here we have this somewhat tight jump, and we have to do it blind because of that white flash. And because of that, I was just a little bit too far to the left. Yeah, and there's another route for this where you actually skip 5-1 and just start on 5-2, and then you do 5-2 through 5-18, And if you get the strat that I just did, it actually would be about the same time. But it saves about a second to do it this way when you actually get the strat. But it can be difficult when there's that white flash. It is something that I really wish was not there. It's also difficult to practice because, like, unless you go and beat one of the bosses, you're not going to get the white flash, specifically the chapter 5 or chapter 4 boss, and both of them can take a very long time. So yeah, it can be a little bit of a frustrating level, but overall Rapture, another difficult level, our world, a lot of difficult strats, and the levels are fairly long for Meat Boy standards. The average level length of this speedrun is probably like 7 seconds or less, 6 seconds. It's not very high. But the average time in Rapture is like 10 or so. There's just, the levels are really long, so it's really easy to lose a good chunk of time. These are new enemies called Zombie Boys, Abominations. I think everyone calls it something different. For the most part, they don't get in your way, except for on that level I just beat where they behaved. But they have RNG on how close until they chase you, which just kind of threw this level off a little bit. One of them just decided to have fun and not chase me, which doesn't sound like it'd be a big deal, but it is. Luckily, I think that there's really only those 3 levels where we have to worry about them. Because on this level, we go over the top there. We avoid that warp zone. I would have joked about you don't want to go in there, but yesterday, when I was doing practice commentary, I almost went in there. And I didn't want to jinx myself. Right here, we get to just jump right in the air and land there. It seems really scary at first, but you're just landing on that little platform. The scariest part's actually landing on it and jumping in time, but this chapter does have a lot of like huge level skips too. Like this one is normally a pretty long level, but we just jump through those repulsors. It's supposed to be there to like keep you away from just going to Bandage Girl. And right there, I carry a rocket, saves about a half second or so. This is a pretty good Rapture, actually. Much better than Hell. And this is the last level of Rapture. There's nothing really going on, so I'll just explain the boss that's coming up. Larry. Larry is just RNG. Basically, it's 3 sets of worms. We want them to jump as soon as possible, but RNG determines whether or not they jump. But I'm going to try to do this manipulation here where I pause and pretend like I'm exiting the game and then cancel it. And it basically gives worms 2 chances to jump and sort of separates them. It didn't really work here, but what can happen is that 2 of them can jump on that first, what we call a cycle. And on that first cycle, basically before any worms jump, you get like a 50% chance of them jumping. So it really helps set your RNG. But there I didn't get super lucky with it. But that wasn't bad RNG. That was a 5 cycle, I think, which is honestly pretty good. That's about average, but it can take literally minutes sometimes. The longest I've ever had was 3 minutes. This is the end. Unlike all the other chapters, we have to beat every level, and there's only 5 levels. Right, on that first level, normally you have to grab 2 keys and go back and forth, but we just jump off of that and skip it. This chapter has big skips on 4 of its 5 levels. It's definitely one of the most challenging chapters of this game, because similar to Hell, there's just nowhere to really hide with them. Fairly risky strats, although... Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say I messed up that one, so I can just go for a safe backup, but... Please? Alright, that's fine. That's what it is. This level recently has probably given me the most trouble of any level in this video game. This level right here has a really cool looking one where we're going to go underneath these saw blades, and we're going to try to do that to beat a cycle. Oh, whoops, I let go auto jump too early, so it's onto the wrong wall. But we're going to try to beat a cycle in the center. Or not, let's go. Guess I was too slow there. You actually can't be too fast here. All right, well, I actually don't know the other strat anymore, so. I was gonna say I'll just do the other strat, but
go.
That wouldn't work. Yeah. I forgot which cycle I was on. All right, and so now here's 6-5 Omega. This one is like, especially when you're starting out, just a really scary level because it's right at the end, really long, really difficult. Dang. There's like 3 different places where you get skips that are all kind of dangerous. That's the second one there is, well, I guess there's more than 3 places if you do the fastest strat. Normally you'd have to go into here and grab a key, but we're just gonna like not do that. And we're gonna finish the level and go to the final boss. And the final boss being Dr. Fetus, who I guess I didn't explain the story of the game. Dr. Fetus is the bad guy who stole your girlfriend, Bandage Girl. And why did he steal your girlfriend? It's because he hates you. And that's the story of the game. So normally the game would want to keep you in between those 2 sets of saw blades while Dr. Fetus shoots missiles at you. But yeah, that's not gonna happen here. We're just gonna go to the end of this level and sort of chill on this button. So one thing you might notice is that the saw blades are gonna come at me, and so you would expect that I would die because saw blades in Meat Boy normally means death, which would be, if you thought that in your head, extra credit for you. But we're standing on a button, and that gives us invincibility. Why does it give us invincibility? I have no idea, but it does. So we're gonna be safe from these saw blades. And Dr. Fetus is gonna fall down in his hole, and we're going to save Bandage Girl here. Time is about to come up in like 10 seconds. We're gonna end on sort of a hidden cutscene trigger for the end of the game. It's on the side. Normally we'd have to go to the right, but we just jump out in the middle of the air, and that's time. I don't know. Apparently the devs put that in there to test cutscene triggers. That's one of the things that somebody said. I don't know what exactly is true, but we just jumped to the left, and that's Super Meat Boy. Very fast speed run, a lot going on, but very, very fun. Thanks everybody for watching, I guess.
GG's. Thank you for showing that off, Shredberg. That's always fun. I'm always captivated watching Super Meat Boy speedruns. It's probably one of the first speedruns I really got into aside from like Cave Stories, so.
Nice, yeah. That seems to be like, if a lot of people, especially back like 5-6 years ago, like a ton of people got into speedrunning with this game. Yeah, shout out to the Super Meat Boy community too. Just everyone there is super helpful, super nice. Definitely check out this game if you want to speedrun and you like precision platformers. I think it's a really good one. Like this and Celeste and, you know, V6 and others are just really good speed games to just pick up and have fun with.
Yeah, precision platformers are definitely my cup of tea, and thank you so much. Do you have any other things you want to say real quick?
I do not. Thanks for having me, GDQ. Shout outs to California. Go Kings, Sacramento Kings, not the LA Kings. Don't go them. And that's it.
Yes, California is best. Guys. I will agree. I've only been here for less than a year. But
heck yeah.
Next up, we are going to have Vanya Von back. Going to be playing some Newtopia. So hang tight, everybody.